Yes, I am.
Okay. Trying to get back to my gallery view, which is my favorite. Yes. Okay. Nick, is that screen up there? What do we have? This is, you got the invitation up?
Yeah, just a flyer.
Yeah. Okay.
Just like a welcome, so people can look it over real quick.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hi. Now we're set. This is our penultimate meeting of the year. We will have one more meeting on general meeting on November 12th at 9:30. So mark your calendars now. And just for general information, our membership meetings are every other month on the third Thursday at 9:30. So skip a month, November, next one January, then on from there. So please, mark your calendars. It's a regular hit, and we hope you will join us. Before I get started, I just want to extend a big welcome to Rebecca Witt and Eve Flippin, our two newest members. And I'm so glad that you could be with us, and hope you will find some time to help out on the committee of your choice. We have Moretta Copeland is our chair of membership, and she's always looking for volunteers. So it's a big job, and but a lot of fun. And I know that Donna also has in the education committee is the chair, and again, always looking for happy helping hands to do that work. It's a great opportunity, both of them, a great opportunity to extend your personal network and meet some really fantastic people throughout the state. So please do that. I just want to mention a couple of things. The 2020, the Alzheimer's Association 2020 Annual Conference on Dementia is going on right now. It's continuing over the next few days, over the next week. So I encourage you, it's always a terrific program. Obviously, they're doing it virtually this year. But just some really great information, great speakers, and just contact Rachel at the Alzheimer's Association or call the helpline. And they will connect you up with that and give you registration information. Another item, the Northern Virginia Dementia Care Consortium is putting on their 34th annual Caregiver Conference, Grow with the Flow, and that is November 9 through 13. They're free virtual sessions from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock daily, and that is 5 days of really good information, and that's a fantastic group as well. Another one is the National Center for Elder Abuse. Has ideas for staying in contact with your loved one. You can contact the Elder Care Locator at 1-800-677-1116 or visit www.eldercare.aci.gov, ACL. Let's see. Another item here, Get Fit with Beata Senior Living Solutions. That's at Spring Arbor of Williamsburg in the activities room there. And then we're also on Thursday, September 24th at 11 o'clock. There's a Stay Active and Independent for Life with Linda Watkins. That's a falls free checkup. Thursday, September 24th at 1:30. There's a seminar on using assistive technology to prevent falls. And so if you're interested in either of those, they're both free. So just contact Nick and he will send you to the appropriate spots. Do any of you on the call have announcements that you'd like to make or share with the other members? Okay.
This is
George?
Joyce.
Rebecca
Could I-
put something in chat.
I'm sorry?
I believe Rebecca put something in chat saying Hampton University is also doing their Alzheimer's conference next month.
Ah,
She's
okay.
showing the-
Thanks, Rebecca. That's great. Can people contact Rebecca? Can people contact you if they want more information? Okay, good. Anything else? Yes.
Could I just add the two last events that you mentioned, the sale and the assistive technology, are part of a week-long promotion for Falls Prevention Awareness Week. And there are actually like 9 programs scheduled, and I can send somebody the entire list if you want it, but you can also direct people to register at vpass.info/events, and I can put that in the chat. If you'd like the entire document, I can email that to someone as well.
Okay, thanks, Joyce. That's great. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
So yeah, just everybody, check the chat box and get that information out. It's a tough time to. It's interesting. This is getting into conference season, and it's very different this year. So, okay.
I do have all of the things I sent you, Chris, in a PDF that I send out as well.
Okay.
That lists the conference, the dementia conference, all that's going on, and the falls free checkup. I do have the whole thing.
Okay, great. All right, so if people need information on that, just reach out to Nick and he can send you the information. Okay. Well, I am very happy to have a discussion today on the Virginia Caregiver Guide. This is an interesting project. It was something that was first put together back in 2004. And lots happened since then. And it was put together by the original coalition members. And we thought that it was time to update it. And so Nick and Emily got together, Emily Hoyt got together and just banged away at it and updated it and streamlined it and redesigned it, and it is a fabulous document. We talked with a lot of stakeholders about this this publication because there was some thought that we didn't need a treeware-based document anymore, that we needed to all of this information was available on the web, and so the guide would be redundant. But after further talks with people, we decided that it was probably a good idea to have a publication for those who are not technologically adept, and so we moved ahead with it. Someone's needs to mute. So Nick, I don't know what that is. I'm hearing like cow calls or something. Thank you. So we present it to you today, and Nick sent out some questions that we were interested in getting input from. And so I will open the discussion and see what the feedback is. So please, let's go over to the chat. And if anybody has any comments, you can either chat box or If not,
Can I start off?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I've been getting some feedback from people who weren't able to attend the meeting today via email.
Okay.
And I would just share a little bit. You know, Dee and I had a conversation. I've had a couple conversations with some other people just about some of their thoughts. And, you know, even my own thoughts looking back on it, I have, you know, some things that I'm like, well, maybe we could go about it this way. But the one thing that I do want to mention is we do want to have this guide be not only a print version, but also something that can be available digitally. And one way we want to format that is, you know, a larger print version for people who may have like, you know, like visual impairments that, or, you know, just a larger print version so people can read it easier. And then there was mention of if we could maybe get a Spanish language version of the guide, which I would be interested in, but I don't know how to go about it yet. So that was some feedback we got. I did talk to Denise Scruggs this morning. She's with the University of Lynchburg at the Beard Center, and she said that, you know, she really liked what we were doing with the guide, and she had some comments just about adding some programs that Southwest Virginia has that weren't in the guide, and maybe mentioning some veterans resources as well that we could put in. She did make mention of.
When you were talking about doing it in a Spanish language version, have you talked to Divette or communicated with Divette Briscoe? She's the DARS person who is in charge of translation and linguistic services.
According to Kathy, she's no longer with DARS.
Oh, okay. Then I don't know who the person is. Sorry. Okay.
No, I mean, I figured that's something that I'll be looking at in the next couple months as I get ready to finalize everything. I figure once we get the guide finalized completely, then we can look into translating it if that's even an option.
Right.
But I would like, I mean, I think that's something that would be really important and very useful to a lot of people. And then, so I have gotten some feedback too. I have some people who are going to be giving me some stuff via email later today. They're going to type up, you know, some of their edits. You know, there's some comments about formatting, and there was a lot of people really liked the way it was done visually and stuff like that. And other than that,
I have a question about the electronic version of it, or the digital version, however you want to say it. Will that be something that is searchable?
that's the goal.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to either house it on either through Senior Navigator or, you know, on our VCC page there, or even on the DARS side of it.
Donna, when you
But the goal is to have someone find it, you know, if they need to.
do you mean like searchable within the document or like searchable like on Google?
Within.
Within, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a PDF, so it should be searchable within if people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I asked that question, Emily, because I think it's a great document, but, you know, I work in brain injury, so for me, all of it's not going to be relevant to the population I work with. So if I refer family members to it, it would be easier for them if they could search what they're looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that was what we wanted from the document in the first place, was we knew that everything was going to apply to every person. And so we wanted to set it up in a way that it was easy for people to navigate and find the information that they needed. So, yeah.
Right, and I think that's great, because there are certain things that everybody will need to know and certain things only few. So yeah, I think that's great. Thank you.
Another option, I don't know how doable it would be to make it an interactive PDF where like the table of contents could be hyperlinks, or not hyperlinks, but links to the page. So that way if you know, oh, the information I'm looking for is page 54, you can link it and it'll jump you straight to the 54. I don't know if that's a tech option for this PDF.
Yes, that was our eventual goal, but we were holding off on doing that until we had like the final version, just because we didn't know how much things were going to be switching around. So we wanted to do that kind of at the end once we knew where everything was going to be within the document.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think that would be a huge help if in the final edition it's interactive, just to make it a real quick search there too.
Great suggestion. Let's see.
So I have a question. Are we going to go through the document or just email Nick suggestions we have?
Well,
We can go through it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and
Yeah, I
yes.
can go. But I'm just trying right now to write down everything that's going in the chat and get all the feedback down, and it's hard to do with just one screen.
Yeah.
All right. So, is everybody following the chat here? Couple of helpful comments from David DiBiase. Another reason for print copy is parts of the state have poor internet connection. That's true. And also adding URLs with HTTPS :/ creates a difficult user experience. Something to keep in mind. Joyce, you made the comment on page 33, the reference to CDSMP should be updated to CDSME. Thank you.
That's here. Okay. All right. George said he's gonna keep an eye on the chat for me so I can go through the guide.
Okay, great.
So I mean, Emily, she can chime in whenever. I mean, really, I just want to thank her because without her, I don't think we would have been able to do this in a timely manner. And she really was the main architect of this, design-wise and content-wise. I mean, she did the majority of the work here, just making it look nice and getting the pictures and doing all the nitty-gritty. So I would like to extend a thank you to her because she is wonderful. It was wonderful working with her on this. But the way we had originally designed the guide was, one, the original guide looked like a phone book. Nowadays people are so used to seeing their content, either streaming through their phones or online, and there's a really big push to make it visually interesting and reducing the amount of, reading people have to do. I mean, think about, Twitter and hashtags and things like that. People aren't going to want to read paragraphs of information to try to find resources. They want it to be interesting to look at, simple enough to understand, and that way they can just go and get the information they need and, get on with their day. So we tried to keep that approach in mind as we, designed this, and really trying not to just have pages and pages of just blocks of paragraphs of reading to do. We wanted to break it up and, just make it easier to digest. We also kind of designed it where we took, what we thought were the big sections, just introduction, what it is, how to go about the guide, how to use it, taking care of yourself, why that should be, kind of higher on the priority list. We wanted to have it earlier in the guide so people realize that, you really got to make taking care of yourself a priority if you are going to be a caregiver. And then we broke it down into kind of subsections of if you're caring for an older adult, or if you're specifically caring for someone with a dementia or related disorder, or, caring with somebody with some type of other disability, or if you're caring for a child with autism. Our goal was also, if you knew that a lot of this guide wasn't going to apply to you, we almost wanted to design it where you could rip out the sections you don't need and just skip right ahead to, what you were looking for. If I'm a grandparent taking care of a grandchild, well, I might not need a lot of this other stuff. I'm just going to strip it out and go straight to my section. We also tried to do it where we have these kind of one-page informational things that could almost be used as a handout if necessary. So that's kind of where we were coming from with it when we went about kind of tackling this.
Can I speak to that, Nick?
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of the handout things and the pull-out, but what I have found is that people don't know what they don't know, and just because they don't need it right now doesn't mean they won't in a month or two. So I think in that paragraph we should encourage more as a way of prioritizing, because caregivers are often so overwhelmed, they just don't know where to start. But if on that sentence, pick out the sections that specifically apply and then save the others for later if needed, or something like that.
I would second that. David DiBiase here. I love that statement, caregivers don't know what they don't know. I do hear that kind of thing a lot. And, you know, it's only sort of after you fall into a hole that you figure that you need a way to dig out. And you never know what holes are coming in the caregiving experience.
Great point.
Cool. I think I'm just gonna maybe start moving through the guide a little bit, and if anyone has any comments as we kind of tick through, just please feel free to chime in. You know, and as you can see, like, we really try to just simplify. You know, if we're gonna have a block on one side, we wanted to make it more, you know, just kind of bullet points on another. You know, and we also wanted early in the guide to be, if you don't have time to read a 100-page guide, you know, let's get to, are you new to caregiving? We wanted to really have people be like, start at the essentials. You know, find an area agency on aging, contact your social services, you know, contact Social Security if that applies to you. You know, just the really big, you know, we know that you don't have time to make 100 phone calls. Like, just start here if you must, you know. That way, you know, we knew that, like, it can be really overwhelming. So we wanted to just be like, start light, and then you can dive in as you need to, you know, as you have more time, you know, to digest it. You know, we don't want you to sit down and try to read the whole guide at once. It's kind of come back and read it as needed.
Hi, this is Krista from Virginia Navigator. If y'all can't hear me, let me know, but I did want to make a couple actually really positive points about this. Going along Nick's statements about kind of organizing it in a way that people don't have to read through everything to find what they're looking for. Maybe I'm just silly, but I love a table of contents, so that made me really happy at the very beginning. And then just the visuals were easy to not read if like a paragraph like on this page specifically with this like boxy chart kind of thing. So like you mentioned, other people said visually it was really good. Nick, I am going to be one of those people sending you just very small edits for our portions, but nothing too crazy. And then later on, I know I would need to talk to Kim and Adrian, of course, but I think that it would be so good to have this on both Senior Navigator, Disability Navigator, and if we add Veterans resources to this, then Veterans Navigator as well.
Yeah, and that's what I figured we would go over it, and everyone who, you know, had a section in the guide could give me, you know, their most recent list of resources or whatever they felt was the most important, you know, to include in it. When we actually started this guide, right as we were kind of wrapping up the first draft to kind of start getting input, George and I actually sat in on a veterans caregiver conference, and they were working on their own guide. So I think as we start to wrap things up, I might contact Monica?
Yes.
Over there, and, you know, see if there's any resource that has been mentioned by a couple people about veterans resources, and getting, even if it's just, you know, if you're a veteran caregiver, go over here, you know, call here, look here, they're going to be able to help you more in depth at this place, you know. But thank you. I appreciate it. there any email here?
All right, contact service.
Yeah, and I just want to say also there's no comment that's too big or too small, because Nick and I spent the entire summer looking through this time and time and time again, and so it's very possible that we missed something. So even those like little things like Joyce was saying, like we need to change something to CDSME that said CDSMP, that's stuff that, you know, we just, after looking at it for so long, we just haven't caught that stuff. So don't be afraid to say even the little stuff too, because that's super helpful.
Thanks, Emily.
Yeah, but well, I kind of go blind to the details. So having a good proofreader. Also, I do think, actually, I was just thinking before the meeting, including a VCC membership application in the guide might be useful.
Okay.
You know, we mentioned the VCC in the beginning, but maybe having an actual, you know, membership application, or at least, I think there might be a link to it, but I think that making it more prominent might be a good idea.
I know Moretta will get on board with that.
Certainly.
To that point, is there someone you can contact at all once you get this document in your hands? It would be good if somebody could just say, I just need to call somebody and have a live person answer the phone.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea either.
Good suggestion.
Yeah, I do believe that we have the contact information for, I think, DARS, I believe, on there. We have the phone numbers for those, like in the back. I think like all the area agencies on aging and some of the bigger agencies. I want to say that we have phone numbers for those, but if not, we should definitely add that.
I'm pretty sure they're there. Jump. In the back, are you referring to?
Yeah, in the back. Yeah. So,
There we go.
Yeah.
What about 211?
211?
That I think might be the beginning when, but we should add that at the back too. But I want to say that there is something at the beginning when we're talking about like Virginia Navigator and all of that. I think that number might be listed there, but if not, we should add that.
Yeah,
Here's DARS.
But I'm going to say, I mean, have you all called these numbers? When you call Virginia Navigator, you don't get a person. You got to know who you're calling and why, and then they'll call you back.
So before we even started, before Emily and I even started, we had someone else, our administrative assistant, will go through and check that the numbers were current and the contact information was current. So it should be. I mean, there was a lot of numbers to go through. There might be some that we missed. I definitely think that'll be kind of towards the end, just making sure all the numbers work and it's the right number, and you know, but if you do see anything, especially for your own organization, if you have a number or a contact that you think is, you know, where it should be, I'd be happy to, you know, change it. You know, I definitely encourage that part.
I will also
But I do-
say, sorry, Nick.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
If for certain organizations right now, such as Virginia Navigator, we do normally answer the phone on the spot, but right now we're all still working from home, so we have to wait till a voicemail comes in, and then we call people back as soon as we get that. So I know or other places might be doing the same, just with COVID still going on.
We're doing the same thing with DARS, brain injury. So we do have to wait for the voicemail too.
Okay. Yeah, I figure a lot, you know, if there's, especially like in certain area, you know, parts of the state, if there's resources, I'd be happy to add them to the back. You know, I figured this could be where the more phone book look is going to be, you know, just a straight up list of what you're looking for.
This
So
also,
you've got, I'm sorry, go ahead, Krista.
no, Donna, you're fine.
So Nick, I was gonna, and Emily, there are some specific regional TBI or brain injury related services. I mean, Brain Injury Association of Virginia, I see in there, will refer to those local things. Do you want the more local level sites, or do you want to just keep it at a higher level right now?
We had discussed that if we wanted
Yeah.
to, you know, keep it more general, or, you know, especially like in the front of the guide, we definitely wanted to keep things more general and either refer people to the back or just refer people to, like, you know, the high level stuff where then they would be referred to their, you know, appropriate location. But I would definitely be open to adding, you know, especially regional specific things in the back, you know. Like if you're looking for brain injury, you go to the back and then it's like, okay, here's the general number and then here's the breakdown, you know, by region. I had no problem with that because we added the AAAs individually in the back.
Right, I saw that, yeah.
So that actually goes to what I was going to ask for, because you have the AAAs individually listed. And I know that that's obviously helpful for older adults and all of that. But for, this might be irrelevant, but for disability, I noticed that the SEALs were listed, but would the CSBs be important to include on this document at all?
I think so. I think it'd be good to list them.
See, that's the kind of the question I have. I mean, we only have 9 brain injury local programs, so that's not a big deal. But if we're going to add, you know, the Centers for Independent Living and the CSBs and the TBI and the brain injury programs, it's going to get really big, which is not necessarily a downside. It's already big. So, but I mean, yeah, the CSBs I think are really important, but it's a matter of figuring out how big and how detailed Emily and Nick or us or we want it to be.
Yeah, I definitely don't think I'd want to. I don't think we'd want to list more than, you know, the name and either a phone number or a website. I mean, I wouldn't want to add the full address or anything like that in there. If we're going to really break it down by region, you know, it'd just be a bullet point list. It's like, this is the name of it, you know. More details, you know, you can either go to the website or call somebody to get more information just to keep the guide from being like 150 pages. At least that's my thoughts.
I agree with you, Nick. This is Moretta. Yeah, you're kind of pushing it like with the 99 pages.
Yeah, I think it's also important to just keep in mind that we were kind of developing this to be, you don't have to use every single section. So while, yes, like overall it is 99 pages, the individual sections that people would be using for if they're caring, because if you're caring for an older adult, you would just use the older adult section and then maybe like the dementia section. And then, you know, you wouldn't even look at caring for a grandchild or things like that. So I think we were a little bit skeptical of it being so long, but then when we really broke it down, looked at the individual sections that people would be using, we didn't think that that was too overwhelming. But I don't know if people have other thoughts on that. We're definitely open, but that was kind of why we decided to keep it the length it was, because really the content that people would be looking at wouldn't necessarily be them looking through 100 pages of material.
Mm-hmm.
And Emily and I had discussed trying to strike a balance between giving people, detailed information, but also, I get calls from people saying, oh, I got this list of contacts and organizations and, of like 40 names and numbers. I don't have time to call that. So I get there's a lot of frustration too to try to sort through a resource and try to, call and get somebody to call you back or visit a website that, may or may not apply to you, and we also want to take that into account too. Like, we don't want to just be like, oh, start here, and really we're referring to them to some other search that's going to take them an hour to really find what they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I definitely want to, the goal was just kind of strike a balance between, definitely striking a balance.
Yeah. That makes sense. So Nick, what would be the easiest way to, this is Moretta again, like for instance, should I just email you? Because I see some changes that definitely need to be made related to like disability resources, like VOPA is now like the Disability Law Center of Virginia.
Good catch.
Yeah, definitely send me, if you could, email is probably the best. That way I can just kind of print off the email chains and then I can just go through them, like a checklist, correct things.
Okay.
Because Emily's volunteered to help make some of the final edits, and I do appreciate that. Otherwise, I'd have to learn how to use Adobe InDesign. Which I can figure out. It might just take me a little while.
Yeah.
But a lot of it, the original guide had, this mature driver information. It was like 5 pages of information. And, we really tried to keep it, each little section to either 1, 2 pages max, and just give them the essential, especially like the right-hand side, turning 75, go see DMV. The goal is, that's probably the most important takeaway from that. We wanted to highlight that information.
You guys did a good job. It's well done. But like you say, there's so much information.
Yeah, and it was, when we first looked at it, it was like, you could spend hours and hours, just like adding the most minute details to things. And it's like, but, we had a lot of discussions like, is this really important? Like, would like the average caregiver really gain from this? Or are we just putting in information for information's sake?
Yeah.
And we tried to keep that in mind. It's like, we want this to be useful, not just like a stack of paper.
Well done.
I think going back to that balance too that you're talking about, Nick, I mean, I remember when I would visit with families, I would give them, I had like this 15, 20 page document on Medicaid, right? And even something of that length, I still would talk someone through it and highlight it, because I know, I mean, people are just so busy that even if this were brought down to 15 pages to 20 pages, I mean, the detailed information that you want to provide, it's still very important as that provider to highlight, what are the important points? Okay, so caregiver for someone with dementia, I'm going to highlight these pages for you maybe. Why don't we go to this section? Certainly there will be people that'll just pick this up or find it on their own, but I think it really is, even if you were to shrink it down to half the size, right, it is really important to be able to quickly show someone the spots that they want to go to. So to me, I mean, having it be, what is this, 99 pages on Adobe, I mean, even if it were half that, I think we would still be like wanting to quickly highlight. So I don't think the length is a problem necessarily, as long as, DARS or whoever is comfortable printing it at that length. And the only other potential thing I could see is when it goes to large text, it becoming quite lengthy. But I think, in this format, I mean, I don't see a huge issue with the length.
Yeah, and especially with the large text, I figured that would be essentially remain in digital format only. And if someone wanted to print that off themselves, then they could, you know, be my guest, because then it really would be, it'd be a gigantic guide.
Well, and that brings up another point for me. Is this accessible? Have we run it through an accessibility checker?
Not yet. So the goal was to get all the edits and, you know, get all the information finalized after this meeting, and then start going about accessibility, you know, and then any language translation or anything like that would be after all the content is where we need it to be.
Okay, got it.
But that was, you know, the goal too. We, you know, we wanted to make sure it'd be accessible. And I'd have to figure out who our accessibility person is.
Okay.
Accessibility person's going to be Betsy McElfresh.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Just like to, Patrick Webb, are you still on the meeting? Okay.
I would like to jump back to page 32 and 31, responding to the Area Agency on Aging piece. On the top of page 32, it says Area Agencies on Aging. And then the next page, I think that should be tied Agency on Aging Services, to be clear that that is what you're referring to, is the Area Agency on Aging. Just to keep the language the same, you have it parentheses, triple A's,
Yeah.
and, you know, just that type of consistency for the layperson is just crucial. So they're not saying, now what is this?
Good catch. Okay. Do we have anything else? I don't know what's been happening in the chat since I'm sharing my screen. I don't know if there's any comments in there.
Yeah, there's some good ones. Pam Blankenship made the comment, VDH dental health program. Pam, are you gonna send those to Nick? Send those caregiver tips for oral health?
Also looks like there's lots of, oh, sorry.
This is Pam.
Go ahead,
Yes,
Pam.
I can share those. I just, and Nick, you can take a look, and if it doesn't fit, if it doesn't, you know, work, I know we can, like we've said, get way too much information in here, but it is nice because I do find that caregivers really struggle with where to go and taking care of somebody else's teeth. So I'll just email those over, and you can kind of give me your feedback, because I know once you've done this, you've done so much work, adding another page is sort of a nightmare sometimes. So,
well, and maybe that could just be something that we could add towards the back in the directory of, you know, here's where you go if you want more information on this topic or something like that. But yeah, that would be great. Thanks.
okay.
This is George. It looks like in the chat there's a lot of corrections from our two AAA folks about their just basic information like phone numbers and addresses. So I think it's worthwhile checking with each area agency website to make sure that we've got the correct information, because sometimes it's not always reflected on B4A or the DARS website as quickly as it might be.
Okay.
So that would probably be the same with the CSBs and SILs. So if you want to farm those out to to us, I'm happy to help with that.
Cool. Thanks,
Building
George.
off that too, I had noticed in the end where the different resources are listed, Rappahannock Area Agency on Aging is actually going through, and they changed their name or updated it to Healthy Generations. And Nick, I can shoot that to you in an email real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I did know that it's Healthy Generations. I just always forget to switch it over.
Oh, you're fine. I have family up that way, and I still talk to them about, oh, you know, Rappahannock AAA, and I worked for AAA. I should know that they're Healthy Generations now, and I'm just so used to it too. You're fine.
Okay. Let's see, any other comments we should look at? I think we're updated on the chat. Any other thoughts? I appreciate everybody taking the time to look this over with us, and I'm very happy that we've been getting really positive response on it, and looking forward to seeing it get finished. Nick, thank you, and Emily again for everything. This is really an amazing piece of work. And any other business that we need to talk about today? George?
I've got something.
Yeah, go.
So as far as the education committee and programs coming, in the future are coming, the education committee met, I don't know when, last week before, something like that. And we have come up with a topic for the November meeting. We want to talk about caring for individuals through isolation, and how, that's in children, there's some digression of behaviors, and in adults, there's some severity of symptoms and, the like. And so what do caregivers do for that? And so one of the members of the education committee, Violetta Ardoin, is looking into getting a speaker, on both of those issues, to maybe be a panel, one working with adults with disabilities and one, or aging and dementia, and one working with children, because, they're two separate but related issues. But if any of you have a resource that we should pursue with that topic, I would love it if you would send me information, because the chips and speakers are not falling into place really easily on that one. So, any speaker suggestions or resource suggestions for that, I would find helpful.
Okay.
I have an update too quick. So the Virginia Life Student Rescue Voucher Program is just entered year 3, which is the final year of the grant. However, we have an administrative supplement that the ACL is planning to issue that I have to have turned in by tomorrow, for another, I think, $11,000 or something like that, which will increase the amount of families we'll be able to provide respite to by another 17. So I think it brings our total up to like 505 or 510 is the goal across the 3 years of the grant. We are slightly behind schedule due to COVID, really slowed us down in the beginning. However, we are in the process of getting a part-time person in to help me out processing the vouchers, so we should be able to do kind of another mass blast to get the word out to hopefully, get us up to where we need to. But we also do have the ability to do a no-cost extension if we have to, which will give us more time to, use up those grant funds if we have to. So I just want to let everyone know about that.
Okay. Krista, is that something that you guys might be able to put on the front page for a month or so on the homepage?
Yeah, I can definitely talk to Kim and Adrian, since they're the ones that of course, decide what goes up there.
Exactly.
That's like him. So I'll speak with her. But yeah, I'll let y'all know.
Okay, good. Would that be helpful, Nick, to have that on Navigator up front?
Yeah, yes, but not until we actually get a person in a position.
Okay, all
Just
right.
because hopefully in the next month or two, just because I would be drowned again.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, Nick, will you stay close with Chris on that?
Yeah, I'll keep everyone updated as we get further along once we get our new person in, and then once I get them trained and up and running.
Okay.
Then I'll throw them to the wolves. No.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Anything else? All right, well, I'm going to move to adjourn. I hope to see all of you in November. And do I have a second for adjournment?
Second.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, everybody. Yes.
Yeah, if anyone, like I said, keep those edits coming into my email, please.
Okay.
As you find them, it would appreciate it.
Okay, great. And thanks again for all the comments and input, and keep it coming. This is going to be a really valuable document, and I think it's going to be a real great addition to our mission at PCC. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.